Do they?
I don't think you got the best versions of me and Lewis, Sean, to be honest.
They're the ones that made us. Oh, brilliant. They were good times.
That's the sort you need to save that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is it. We're in.
Rolling, yeah.
Oh, we're not rolling?
Oh.
Are we rolling?
You were rolling.
Oh, we were.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so that's how we'll generally run it, is they will just go like that anyway, so there's no intros.
Oh, great. You don't have to retell it.
No, exactly, yeah. So what do you remember about me and Carl? That's what I want to know first.
So I rang a few people. I said, "Have you got any funny stories about Carl and Lewis?" And the story about Carl reversing out of the driveway and knocking over a wall.
Yes.
Is that for taking listing on?
I've gone and done a viewing, and obviously not a very good driver. I think I had
Still.
seven accidents in 2 years, and anyway, I drove out, and the couple looked at me, and
Did you win the listing?
that was the viewing. I don't think they bought the house, ironically,
wow.
in Hill Morton. I remember.
Wow.
Yeah, and definitely. So Jonathan's remembered. He said that he felt that you were like lovable rogues. He said everyone loved you, but you were literally pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
I remember Carl being the sensible one.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
Definitely more. I said the mature, organised, and the big brother looking after you.
Yeah.
Like he was like protective of you, getting you into the business, into the role. You definitely had the charm and the chat, but you were also
I was wild, mate.
party animal.
Yeah, I was.
It was getting in late, always late, turning up for appointments late.
I brought that to Dubai. When I moved to Dubai, it was one of my managers that ended up saying to me, because what I used to do, and I always try and tell people like now what I used to do wrong. And I used to get to work at 9 on the dot, but my hair wasn't done. And I remember I used to get my Mitsubishi Lancer in Dubai, and I'd put my socks on whilst trying to do my hair. And I'm like, okay, I'm in work. I made it for 9. You're like, just about, no, it's 2 minutes past. You're like, oh my God. I was wild.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully we're different people now, which is good.
Do you know what? We've all changed, but they were good times though as well.
They were very good times. I'd go as far as saying, without you and your company, I don't think Also would be around.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow.
The visionary thing that I always tell everybody is that I always said that you are by far the best person that I've worked with, because if you went back to 2003, 4, and again, I didn't work with you, Arjun. You were my boss, and the big guy. And I'd look, oh my God! But the visionary of your business, you were the first business that I ever knew that had a office that wasn't on the high street.
Yeah.
So Siskin Drive, that was my first office that you went to.
Yeah.
And basically, for anybody watching this, it wasn't every real estate or estate in the UK was high street. You'd fight for the high street. And Sean and Newman estate agents took on an office like this, really, and had your mortgage division, your sales division, and all the staff were in one place. And I just remember that being magical.
Yeah. But it was just probably a little bit too early and in the wrong place.
Because we had no internet, so we needed walk-ins.
Yeah, of course, it's true.
So for people watching, Sean, tell us a little bit about you, because for me and Lewis, it's very familiar. You were my first boss 24 years ago. I actually joined your company, and Lewis, I think 21 years ago. Tell us a little bit about who you are. I'm sure a lot of people back home will know about you and your background, but for people who don't.
So I started when I was like 18 or 19 in a so we were very poor. We had no money in our house. It was a council house. My dad died, killed himself, suicide when I was quite young. I had a younger brother and older sister. My older sister was in a wheelchair. So I was sort of the man of the family. And we were poor. And I just remember I wanted to be rich. So that was my motivation, And I wanted to be rich either legally or illegally. If I couldn't do it legally, I'd be doing it illegally. It was like, I need to not be poor. But I also didn't realise what being rich really was, because I thought our neighbours who lived on the other side of a semi-detached council house, I thought they were rich because they had a caravan. And my mate who lived there, he had a Soda Stream, he had an Atari.
Made it.
That was my goal.
Was that the vision board?
Yeah.
The Soda Stream and the caravan.
Yeah. So for me, a goal would have been to own a house like that. If you come from council house, I got a house, and then I wanted to have a new car, and when I got a new car. But obviously now, having a new Ford Escort isn't really a big goal anymore. That's like normal. But so I worked in a bank. I was on a really low, they call it was a youth training scheme, YTS.
YTS, yeah.
So I was earning £25 a week or something crazy. And then after a year, they take you on. And they go, oh, we've given you a full-time job. Great. It's £250 a month. I go,
Wild.
And then I just looked at the people that have been working there for 10 or 20 years and I thought, do I want to be like
Climbing
that?
the ladder, yeah.
And then someone said in an estate agency, they said they're earning £12,000 a year. And I thought, compared to £250, I thought, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So I went for a job interview and they said, no, you're not getting the job because I had a disco suit on and white socks.
Sounds like Carl.
Yeah. And so I didn't get the job. And I thought, oh, that was in Daventry. So I thought, I'll go to the next big town, Northampton. So I got the bus, went around all the estate agents, got any jobs? And they were going, no. And in the end, it was raining. It was the end of the day. It was a Saturday. It was like 4:30. And I thought, there's one place I haven't tried. That's at Taylor's Estate Agents. So I'd been for the job at Taylor's Estate Agents in Daventry, didn't get it. So I thought I'd try Taylor's in Northampton. Got it. And any jobs go in? They said, oh, I'll get someone to come and see you. Great. Just sit there. Great. Sitting there waiting. Seemed to be forever. And in the end, I just said, who is it who's coming down to see me? And they went, oh, it's Bob Butler. I went, oh, no, that's the guy who interviewed me in Daventry. So I was just about to go and he's coming down the stairs. And I went, oh, hi. And he said, before I could say anything, he said, determination. That's what I like, coming back. Even though you've been rejected and said, no, you come back. And I went, yeah. He said, you've got to get rid of those socks. You've got to get rid of that suit. Have you got a driving license? And I went, yeah. I didn't have a driving license. They said, have you got a car? Yeah, got a car. He said, okay, you can start. I thought, brilliant, got a job. I hadn't got a car or any money to get a car or a driving license. So I literally had to go onto the DVLA, trying to book a driving test. And they're all like 3 or 4 months in advance and the job starts in 2 weeks. So in the end, I said, have you got any cancellations? They went, yeah, we've got cancellation in Derby for tomorrow. I'm going, where's Derby? Yeah, I'll take it. How am I going to? I got a friend to take me there. I had to rent a British School of Motoring car. There's a metro. So I've never been in a metro before. I've never been to Derby before, and I'm driving. And I remember this. Oh, it's going to make me well up in because I actually hit a curb over on a roundabout, reversed backwards, hit a curb, and I thought,
Sounds like Carl again. Are you sure it's not Carl's story?
And I just burst into tears because I thought my only chance of getting rich and getting this job was if I passed this test, and I've blown it. And it was like, it just meant so much. And this guy was going, why are you crying? What's I said, I just need this for my job and blah, blah. And he must have felt sorry for me and he passed me.
Oh, wow.
So I'm, oh, great.
So you've been in a legal drive for 40 years, basically. What, with your coin camera and we told everybody?
So I got the, and then I had to start. And they said, oh, have you got a car? And I went, oh, you wouldn't believe it. My girlfriend just crashed the car and I haven't got a car. I'll get a new one. And they went, oh, okay, no problem. So then in the end, I just had to I thought, when I get paid, I'll get a car. And they said, hey, kept asking, have you got a car? Got a car? Yeah. In the end, I said I'd got a car and they didn't know I was running to my appointments. So I had to run to all my appointments. So I'd have a viewing and I'd go, right, I'm just going to go for lunch. And they go, okay. So then I'll go straight on to my appointment. But I was really go straight to my appointment and I would run. I remember one day, it was like, I'd got this 3P, like a waistcoat on. It was summer and it was boiling hot. And I got all the way to the house. Got there and the people didn't turn up. Oh, gosh. So no mobile phones or anything. So I said, oh, can I just use your phone just to ring the office? Have these people cancelled or have they turned up at the office? And they went, no, not heard from them. Okay, oh, I'm heading back. So went back to the office, got back to the office and they said, oh, the owners have just called. They're there now. Can you go back?
Oh, no.
So I had to run all the way back, sweating. And I got there and they're just coming out. And I said, oh, are you interested? And they went, no, not interested. I went, oh. Can I have a lift back to the town? So I spent a few months running to appointments. I finally got a car. Then I lent it, like the night I got it. I mean, I've got so many stories. These are terrible. But the night I got it, we went, I got a car. Oh. So we were out having a drink as well, doing donuts. And my mate said, oh, can I have a go? And I went, no. And he was going, all night, can I have a go? No. We went to like the motorway service station. He goes, can I have a go here? No. Get to his house or his road in Northampton. And he said, God, let me just drive down my road to my house. Literally, okay. And I live in Daventry, so Northampton's a good 20 miles away. I went, okay, all right. So what does he do? He slams the accelerator down as fast as he can, goes out of control, spins it, goes up someone's drive and smashes into their car. Their car alarm goes off. I'm in the passenger seat like that. He does a runner. Leaves me in the car. All these lights are going off at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, oh no, I need to run as well. So I did a runner as well.
Do you still speak to this guy?
No.
We need to get his name for this
Yeah.
podcast. Tag him in here.
Yeah. So then I had to run, thumb a lift home, trying to hide from, like, if the police come in, no, that's not a police car, good, I'll get thumb a lift. Got a lift home, got in at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm in bed and my mum wakes me up. Sean, the police are here. Someone's stolen your car. And I went, no.
How dare they?
What is this place coming to?
This podcast could be brilliant for the West Midlands Police, by the way.
So the police sort of worked out what
Yeah.
had happened, and they just said, look, we can't prove it. Well, they probably can now. I've just admitted it.
We can today.
And I just said, but if you claim on the insurance,
Yeah.
that would be a fraud, and then, we'll...
And you claimed as well.
So I didn't have that car for more than like 24 hours. And then, this is going to sound terrible, what I did next. But I
It's
needed
not illegal, is it? Because you have to
No,
stop
it's not.
this.
It's not illegal. Well, yeah, it would be actually if it was in Dubai. So I went to this woman. I saw this car advertised. It was 500 quid, I think it was. And I thought, well, if I've got my wages, I can, I can buy it, but I haven't got my wages. So I wrote her a check, basically.
Yeah.
Gave her the check. I thought, well, I'm going to get paid in a few days. If she's like old and doesn't take a few time to cash it in, she must have express cleared it because I'm
wow.
like the banker on the phone. She's on the phone like, oh, the check's bounced. I go,
How
wow,
I'm
what?
shocked.
I'm shocked. But must be the bank. Must be a mix-up. Just put it back in. Same happened again. Bounced again.
And at that point in them days, would the car ownership already be in your name as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Did she ever get paid?
So then it bounced again. And then what does she do? She rings my area director. He rings me up and says, Sean, I had this woman on the phone, said you bought a car and the check's bounced. And I went, oh, it's a mix-up with the bank. He said, I want you to come and see me today in, I think it was Brackley. So I'll get there. And he said, Sean, so have you got the money in the bank? And I went, yes. And he goes, I want you to go to your bank, get the money out and give it to her today in cash. Now, luckily, I was getting paid that day.
Yeah.
I was only getting paid. I didn't tell you what I was getting paid. When I got this job, and I'm expecting 12 grand a year, they said, what are you on at the moment? I went, £250 a month. And they went, oh, we'll match it. I went, okay. Because obviously all of it was, the 12,000 is commission. So I'm only on £250 a month. So I thought, what am I going to do? I've only got to be paid £250. So I went to my local garage. I thought,
Everyone beat somebody onto their wallet or something.
No. I went to the garage and said, I need to sell this car today.
Yeah.
I've had it a week. I paid £500 for it. How much will you give me? And I went, £250. So I sold it for £250. I got my wages, £250. I drove over, gave her the £500.
What a bad investment.
I got
that
no
is.
car and no money. And another
wow.
month before I get paid again.
Oh my God.
And that's how you set a business up off that. Wow.
So, like, when people come for a position to join me and they go, oh, I've got no money and I can't do... They don't know the half of it. Well, you've got to be resourceful and find solutions. And
I think a lot of people, when I'm listening to you talk there, all that was going through my head is, okay, this guy's finding a solution to a problem. And I think that is honestly probably 80% of entrepreneurship successful. Yeah. It's like, I always think if something's going wrong, my first process is, okay, what do we do to fix it? You don't sit there and... wallow in your...
There's a lot of people that do put their heads in their hands and kind of hide away from it and hope that everything gets better, and that's not life.
Yeah.
So what happened after that? So obviously you've been at Taylor's.
Yeah, I was at Taylor's and they made me manager of this office in Rugby. And I'm going like, I'm literally not even 20 years old. I'm a manager. I mean, that's just a sign of how bad a state agency is when someone who hasn't been doing it for 5 minutes, suddenly the manager. Anyway, I wanted to earn more money.
Yeah.
And the trouble is when they made you manager, your pay was based on everyone else's results rather than your own result. And I was looking at all them going, they're not working hard enough, not working like I was. I was earning more money and I was getting paid on my own result. So I said, I'm going to leave. I'm going to start my own business. What had happened is there was a small business nearby. It wasn't doing very well. And the guy who owned it said, do you want to buy this business as a franchise? And I said,
so you wrote him a check out?
No, I didn't write him a check out. No,
as well.
No, because I didn't have any money. Anyway, so I said to him, how much do you want? And he said, basically, he was losing money because he was paying a manager, paying the rent, paying the staff. They weren't selling enough. And he changed manager a few times. He said, look, we'll do it on a franchise. You buy it and then give me 10% of your turnover. The benefit to him is that everything is pure profit. And he's got no liabilities, no rent, no anything. And he'd get 10% of whatever I bring in. So I went, okay, how much? Bearing in mind, the office was way smaller than this. I could literally touch both sides. It was 6 foot wide. There was one member of staff there, an admin person, and one and a negotiator, and some old rubbishy desks. And anyway, so I said, how much? And he said, $6,000. And I went, okay, that seems reasonable, but I don't have $6,000. And he said, okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll pay me £500 a month for 12 months. And I said, yeah, that's fair. I don't even have £500. Like, I didn't have any money. And he said, okay, well, let's pay £500 a month, but start paying in 4 months' time. So you've got 3 months to get houses on the market selling them. And obviously, and I would be taking over the liability of the rent and the wages, but there was a pipeline of sales going through. So I'm basically taking on all this risk, the rent, the wages, the newspaper advertising, and I needed to get results. So I was out, I'd finish my day at whatever, 6 o'clock, 6:30, and then I'd spend the next 2 hours going out, knocking on doors, doing leaflet drops to make the business work. So I started with nothing. And
that's how Newman started,
It was called Garner & Co. That was the name of this estate agency business. And then 2 years later, I realised I was bringing in quite a lot of money, but I was also spending a lot of money on all the costs, and I wanted to grow. And the guy who was doing nothing was getting more than me. So in the end, I said, look, let me just buy it. So I changed the name to Newman's. And
do you know why franchising? So my business head, when you're talking, I'm obviously analysing what you're saying. And the first thing that runs through my head, you're probably sitting there thinking the same thing. 10% franchise fee when you're probably making a 20 or 30% net profit. What a great place to be, being a franchisee if you own a great business.
Yeah, franchisor.
Franchisor, sorry, yes.
They're getting 10%, pure profit, no cost, no risk.
Which is probably 33% of an actual profitable business.
Yeah, well, but some estate agents are not even making profit, you know, and some of the franchised businesses that, they're giving the 10% away, and then it might be left with 10% after that. So you're doing all the work and you're getting 10%. And
if a business is losing money, hypothetically, do they take on 10% of the debt?
No. It's
what a place
turnover.
to be.
It's all turnover. So,
and is that still a thing these days, background franchising?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the property franchise group is growing rapidly because people go, I'll buy a franchise. And they're paying like 10 grand up front to have a franchise. Then they've got to open an office, and then they've got it's not for me, but people are doing it.
I think it will work if the brand can be backed. Like, so for instance, we've been offered to franchise this business, I think, and we've never done it. But if you went down the route of saying, okay, we're going to give you web traffic and structure and, leads and brand equity, there's probably legs in it.
Yeah.
But like a startup offering XYZ is...
Yeah. And then you've also got the economies of scale. Like, you can negotiate better terms with suppliers. So there are benefits in franchising, definitely. If you have the right franchise, the right brand, the right model. But it's interesting. That's how it started.
But how far has it gone then? Because obviously, for anyone watching, you had multiple offices across Midlands and beyond, and the model's a bit different today, which would be great to talk about at the minute. But how far did you go with the businesses?
So with the Newman estate agents, it wasn't that big actually. My plan was always to have one location, but have lots of agents from that location. Probably like similar to, but nowhere near on this scale. So we only really had 3 main towns: Rugby, Coventry, and Leamington for Newman's. And
which were quite dominant in most of them, right?
We're market leader. No doubt about it. The number one company in them areas.
Yeah,
my opinion and other people.
Yeah. So not that big really, but we did well in those locations.
And when you were, obviously, because you've been through the transition of owning a business, paying them, I think my salary when I first started was £8,000 plus commission. I think that's what it was. I think I was on 8%. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Below the tax bracket. I remember that. That's very, very clever. Where you are today, how different is it running a business from a salaried role? Because now a lot of companies are going commission. Are you commission only?
Yeah.
How different is that?
Yeah, I think it's better so all our agents now are self-employed, probably similar to what you've got here. It's better for the agent because their earning potential is far higher. It's better for the business because you're not stuck with the liabilities of salaries. If people don't sell a house, they don't get paid. You don't pay them anything. So it's better for the business, better for the agent, but most importantly, it's better for the client, the customer, this person selling the property, because they're getting more personal service. They've got a personal agent that they're dealing with. throughout the transaction.
So would they act as a lister and a negotiator, like we would here? Because obviously when we were working for you, I think I was a negotiator, and basically the concept was right. Carl would go and win a listing, probably knock a wall over or something, but then he would call the office and be like, "I've got this listing." And when we started Allsop and Allsop, we said, "No, we're going to pay you more.
Yeah.
You're now getting 50%,
but
you're going to do both."
Yeah.
And I think that's been quite a hard thing for us. But anyone that's come from a UK estate agency, they may be good at winning the listing, but sometimes we find they're not very good at selling the house.
Yeah.
I am intrigued though in the shift in mindset of people, typically in the UK, that like this safety net, this blanket of a salary,
Growing in the company vibe.
growing in the company, being a part of something. How have you dealt with people adapting to a commission-only self-employed role? Because from my knowledge, you were one of the first, if not the first, in the UK.
Yeah, I tell you what, when we changed it was when we had that recession in like 2008, and our turnover literally halved. Our income as a business halved, and our costs were still very high. You know, we had a lot of costs, and I just had to make some changes, and we had to make some redundancies. It was like one of the hardest things. You know, I remember having redundancy meetings, because even if you just want to get rid of one person in a team, you have to have consultations with 5 or 6 of them, knowing that only one of them is going to go, and there was tears and everything. But anyway, we had to cut costs. We went, right, the cleaners have got to go, the window cleaners have got to go, everything's got to, we got to cut. And I said to all the team, I said, look, I'm happy to pay you more as a percentage. At the moment, you might be earning, you know, if the money you bring in, it might work out at 15 or 20%. I'm happy to pay you 30%, but you eat what you kill, you know, and we gave it as an option. We didn't force anyone, and most people worked out. They said, well, this is what I earned last year. If I do the same again, I can earn more. I think 90% of the people went, yeah, I'd rather be self-employed. And there was obviously the tax benefits that you can offset some of your costs as a self-employed person. So you're better off tax-wise, you earn more money. So yeah, it was a no-brainer for most of them. And slowly, obviously that's a long time ago, slowly it's become more and more popular in the UK. So if you look at mortgage advisors in the UK, most of them tend to be self-employed. And if you look at any other country in the world, like Australia or America, this is the model. So it has become more, certainly in the last 3 or 4 years in the UK, it's become more acceptable. And actually people go, yeah, I mean, it's the ones that are doing it go, oh my God, I can go pick the kids up from school. Haven't got to ask permission to someone to say, can I have an hour off to go and watch the school kid? You know,
do you think that's allowed you to attract a better type or quality of person? Because obviously some people are confined to times. We've had it before, for fair, where we've got mums that want to go and spend time with it, but they're excellent estate agents, but sometimes there's got to be boundaries. Have you found it better sort of people? My goal, my mission is to raise the standards of estate agency in the UK. I mean, the standards are pretty poor, and it's embarrassing.
They are.
Really bad, and you've experienced it. But, you know, I think the reason it's bad, the 2 things that I'm trying to change is, one, if I can offer a model where people can earn significant income, you are going to attract better talent to the industry.
Definitely.
So at the moment, on a salary in a typical high street estate agency, the salaries are quite low, and you're going to, there's people selling houses as estate agents that have never bought or rented a house. They're living with their parents, and they don't really know.
But they're low salaries, aren't they?
Low salaries.
That's the honest truth.
Yeah.
And the mindset is 5 o'clock I finish.
Yep. And then the other big problem is training. You know, because there's little or no training, there's no licensing, there's no qualifications, and they don't really care. It's just a job, and if they don't sell any houses, they still get paid at the end of the month.
When we set up the UK, so obviously our backstory to the UK, we were here, we were reversed in the UK. I think you were back to England for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, with the kids.
And we're like, okay, cool, we'll go into the business. And I remember walking in down the high street, and you do the strip walk where you go and see what everyone's doing. I remember saying, God, we're going to clean up here. I was like, there's either 80-year-old nans behind there that are just like with their Filofax getting the contacts, or there's little kids in there. So when we launched the business, it did okay. I was happy with what it did. I think there's only so far I could have took it in Coventry. But the reason I'm telling you this, we were very close. Me and Kyle were at loggerheads over this. When we were selling the UK arm, I wanted to follow the Dubai model. And the only reason we didn't, and it would have been successful, is because I wasn't there. If me and Carl were in the city, you'd be able to infuse it with and sit down with a 35-year-old guy and go, mate, you made 30 grand last year. I can get you to 100, 150. But unless you're there and you believe the model, like I've got some guys here. So our top agent last quarter took home £1.2 million.
Wow.
Now he's insane. He's he's the elite level.
that
Like,
Darren?
yeah, Darren. I mean, he's exceptional. The guy's wild, crazy, but
But he's been with us a long time as well.
And there's people below him who earn insane money. And look at these people, think, wow, you could have collected the £3,000 or £4,000 a year month basic salary and not had this lifestyle, but they've all taken that risk.
Yeah.
And now they have this amazing life. But I think the UK's problem is there's not a lot of entrepreneurial spirit in the UK.
Yeah.
Here, people come here for a better life.
Yeah.
So the choices they move here. A lot of people live in England.
Yeah.
So it's like not everyone has that thing where I'm gonna push.
It's a risk taking. I don't think people are scared to take a risk because they've got a lot to lose, right?
Yeah.
And I think the fact. So where are you at now with the total agent count? How's that growing?
So we've got about 200, just
Wow.
under 200 across 2 main brands.
Yeah.
Or we will have by the end of June. This is people in we've got induction process and recruitment process. So
How many cities and towns is that across?
across the UK, like
Really?
we changed from our traditional model of having 3 offices, and I decided a couple of years ago. So this is what, like, it's funny because I'm quite old now, as you can.
You're a lot younger than us, mate.
And so it's funny how I'm actually loving life and loving work and loving business more, and I'm more excited and more ambitious than I've ever been. Like, it's just, I don't know where this sort of...
Is it technology that think's doing that? You open your eyes to
I
reach?
think it definitely has made a difference. Like, obviously, people realise with the COVID that you don't have to work in an office, and people don't want to work in an office, and customers or clients don't want to have to go to an office. So that mindset shift that you don't need an office was big. And so we changed the name from Newman Property Experts to the Property Experts. So we just changed one word because I wanted to have a national brand. Newman's just sounds like a small local independent company, which it was. The Property Experts sounds like, oh, what's this? And it's more like a national brand. And I said, well, we can recruit people anywhere. Like, so we now recruit people in, any part of the UK. And we do the inductions. A lot of it's online. We obviously have get together once a quarter. So we have events.
With all 200, yes? Or eventually
So
200?
there's 2 different brands.
Okay,
so we
okay.
split them up and so it's probably...
How's that defined? Is that Fine and Country? Or?
Yeah, so Fine and Country is one of the brands.
Okay.
So F&C, are they doing self-employed model as well?
So it's actually like a license model. So I'm a licensee and I've got an area. So I don't have the whole of the UK. I have quite a big area from like South Manchester all the way down to Oxford. And I've got bits in London and Southampton and scattered away. But so I'm the biggest Fine and Country licensee. But because it's a license, as opposed to a franchise, obviously a franchise, you've got McDonald's franchise, every franchise is the same.
Yeah.
With a license, you're paying to trade under that name.
Yeah.
But it means you can run the business as you want. So some of the Fine and Country locations will have a more traditional model where they've got an office, an employed manager, an employed secretary, and lister and negotiator. My model, my area, I just have self-employed agents.
Do you think the brand's a big thing for winning business?
Yeah, I think it's 2. There's 2 factors. There's the company brand, and then there's the personal agent brand. And you've got to have both. Like, you can have the best brand in the world and really crap agent, you're not going to win the business. Or really amazing agent and a crap brand.
Yeah.
So they do complement each other.
Yeah, I think this is my theory. An agent can be successful on their own. Like we use Darren as an example. Darren 100% can be successful on his own. But Darren, maybe last month, 40% of his revenue come from referrals that I know we gave him or I gave him or someone gave him that's complemented what he's doing. And if you mesh them together, it creates something special, I
It's
think.
1 and 1 makes 3, doesn't it?
Exactly.
It's great when you've got both of those things right.
So where's it going then? Because 200 is incredible. Where's it going? How far can it go?
Yeah, well, so Fine and Country, I'm limited to the area. So
Yeah.
I'll probably only, increase a little bit of the number of agents. But part of the reason I set up the Property Experts is because I want to grow and I'm quite ambitious. So I was limited with what I can do with Fine and Country. But the Property Experts, I've got the whole of the UK. So it's 2,500 is the number in 5 years. So
Where's that number come from though? Is that
out of here, just like that.
The same. Yeah. 3 million in.
Yeah. So and because I just believe that's probably as big as we could take it, and I'm just aiming high. So I want to be recruiting 50 agents a month.
Yeah.
That's quite a big number. So 40 to 50. Like if I did 40 a month, obviously you've got to allow for people not falling out, but that's 500 a year,
Yeah.
5 years, 2,500. It may be that we only recruit 40 a month and we only get to 2,000, but like aim high. And And, at the moment, we're probably just recruiting, the last couple of months, we've done 10 a month.
Yeah.
So we want to get up to 10 a week. But I'm only just about to start to turn the tap on recruitment.
The main thing is recruiters. If you get the recruiters right, and the vision is correct, and your explanation is correct, and more importantly, you show success stories, people buy into the stories. Like why people end up coming here and flying over the country is they'll see our Instagram post, they'll see the success. I mean, yesterday I was talking to our MD, we gave out 4 or 5 Rolexes and trips to holidays, and people in the UK see that and or abroad and be like, I want that. And I think in the role you're in, just selling that story about
it's aspiration. You're essentially saying I can 3, 4, 5x what you're
Revenue
currently
in the
earning
UK.
right now. And what is the earning potential? Because obviously when I left your company, 17, 18 years ago, 30, 40,000 pound a year would be a pretty good year.
Yeah.
What can you earn now?
So our top agent last month, that was March, took home, this is his take-home pay, over 100,000 pounds.
Just going to say this, if you were an estate agent in the UK and you're not calling Sean, there's something wrong. If you just heard £100,000 have been made in a single month.
Yeah, that's in a month. I mean, most people would be happy with £100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And this isn't some London prices. This is in a small market town in the Midlands. It is one of the agents that deals with the more expensive homes. And people go, he must have sold loads and loads of houses. Well, not really. He's going to be looking to bank £1 million in fees this year, which is his average fee is £21,000. So it's actually 48 transactions.
Yeah.
So it's actually about 4 transactions a month with an average
more than
fee.
doable
Which is not
in the
massive
UK,
numbers.
It's not,
for,
it's 48 transactions
Yeah.
a year, 4 a month, 1 a week.
What's like the average, the median for someone in that role where you think, okay, you're not setting the world alight. What would someone earn in?
They should be banking. So one of our businesses is the property expert. So sort of dealing with the average house price and
what's sub £500,000 or
no,
no,
they're not going to be in. No. I mean, my goal for each agent is they need to be taking home £100,000 a year.
You meant £500,000 house, yeah?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I thought
yeah,
it meant earning £500,000.
So £500,000 houses, I mean.
So if their average fee is say £6,000,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah. So maybe a £300,000 house charging 2%, £6,000 fee. And if they did just 2 transactions, they're bringing in 12 grand a month. So if they get 70% of 12 grand, which is what we pay, they get, which is 8,400. Like it's 100 grand for doing 2 deals a month, 100 grand a year.
And 2 deals is not.
It's not hard.
No.
This is cheap houses, 300,000.
I'm intrigued because obviously these earnings for an estate agent UK is, by the way, amazing. How has your competition took to this? Because if it were me, I'd be like, wow, this is very hard to keep talent. Or...
Yeah, I think the damaging thing that I'm thinking is the more this picks up, how do the top London companies, how do Chestertons get on? How do, I don't know, what the top 5 companies in London and UK,
Well, you've got to look at your country-wise. How do they adapt to,
Okay, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. I can see this coming,
Yeah.
Countrywide nearly went bust.
Yeah.
And they were bought by Connells, so Connells now own it. Connells will go the same way as Countrywide. It's just a matter of time, unless they change their model. But the traditional model of having a high street office and employees, and because with every office you have to have a right move account, then you've got your rent's a couple of grand, your right move's a couple of grand, all your staff wages, and
PAYE,
it's just not viable.
Yeah.
And if it is, I guarantee if you're in business at the moment in the UK and you've got a top lister, he's the fee earner. His work is paying for everything, because he's got to get the house on the market. If someone else is selling it, someone else is doing sales progression, someone else is doing the admin, there's a manager. But he's the one fee owner. He's going to go,
what am I doing here?
What am I doing? I can leave
Yeah.
and go and earn 50%, 60%, 70% somewhere else. And then what does that company do? They've got to find someone else who's on a salary. And then when you pay someone a salary, they won't bring any money in for 6 months.
Correct.
And then you find out they're rubbish. And then you've got to get rid of them.
It's definitely a threat to the bigger company. I think the bigger the company is, the more immobile they are, because they're not able to go to 1,000 people. By the way, you're on commission only now.
It is an industry thing, right? Even like we talk about sales progression, even that's not moved on, right, as well. Wow.
Terrible.
But even in Dubai, it's the same. Let's be honest about it. Dubai's speed of transaction for us is actually quick compared to the UK. We can get a deal for in 30 or 45 days. Our conveyancers control it. But if you look at my vision for conveyancing here, everything should be digitalized.
Yes.
Like, so in Dubai, give an example, we do a sale, we have to wait for the developer to give us an NOC. So that might take 7 days. But the crazy thing is we then got to apply in the bank to get a liability letter, meaning how much money the seller owes. That can take 7 to 10 days because the banks don't want to give the money back yet straight away. So the whole process takes like a long time. How is this not just, you want to agree to sell, okay, get all the APIs to speak to each other, bang, 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 happened.
But when I bought some in London, Carl, we need a physical wet signature. That's a courier.
no.
I'm
Wild,
like,
isn't
what's
it?
going on? Like, it's crazy. But coming back to the estate agency side of things, where you're obviously Bridgeford's countrywide, that we think that they're inevitable. What's going to happen there? What's next for the estate agency industry? What's up your sleeve that you think might change in the future for you? Or
I think even the small independent one-man bands, they're going to suffer, unless the owner is also the lister, the valuer, generating.
Keep the overheads down.
Yeah, but even then, having an office, I just think they're going to go the same way as travel agents. You don't see many travel agents on the high street. Banks are like...
it took a while though, because you talked about that for some time. It has taken some time to get there, right?
But I think it's literally snowballing now.
Yeah.
I mean, the writing is on the wall. I mean, it still might take 5 or 10 years, but I guess, it's a bit like Blockbuster had Netflix come along, but it might have been 5 or 10 years before the inevitable happened. And
What I think is a good thing for the UK is the success of Dubai real estate agents. I think that everyone's seeing, oh my God, they're on commission only.
Yeah.
Then they start to see what's actually happening. They go, well, I can do that in
You
England.
have lots of agents that exit this market also, whether it's missing home or not being successful, and that mindset of that's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Coming back home, it helps in some way. Parenting. Got 2 kids.
Yeah.
Me and Lewis got a couple of kids also. And your kids, how old are your children now?
So they're not children anymore. Like Tyler's 28.
Is he 28 now?
28, yeah. I know.
Wow.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I do
We said
feel
off
old.
camera, there was a photo of me, Sean, Tyler, and Summer, and that must have been 10 years ago. So he'd have been 18, and Summer was like 16.
Yeah.
Wild. We all
I first
look
met
so-
them when they were probably 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah.
Many, many years ago. So you got Tyler's 28 and Summer.
It's 25, must be 26 this year, I guess.
And from afar, because I don't know them personally, they seem super successful. What do they do?
So Summer has got a YouTube channel called The Luxury Home Show.
Yeah.
And she's living in Miami at the moment, but she's lived in Australia, Bali, Dubai. She lived in Dubai for a while. And she loves to travel. But she's lived in Miami, and then I think next month she'll be moving to California, filming the most amazing homes in New York as well, and obviously California, Beverly Hills, Hollywood, 30, 40, 50 million pound homes. And what's amazing is not just the homes she's filming, but the people she's meeting.
Yeah.
They're all millionaires or billionaires, and that's inspirational. You're seeing successful entrepreneurial people. And although I'm super proud of them both, what they're doing, work-wise, ultimately as a father, there's only 2 things that I want for them, and that's 1, to be happy, and 2, to be healthy. And they both are very happy and healthy. And yes, I'm there to support them, but I don't support them financially. Everything they do themselves. And it's actually, it's almost like they don't want me to help because they want to prove that they're doing things themselves. I mean, I remember Tyler buying his first house. His dad's an estate agent.
Yeah.
Most, when you're selling a house, most young people come, oh, I'm bringing my mum and my dad round. Just look at, and you go, oh, here we go. The dad is a builder or something. But yeah, Tyler didn't even ask, didn't say, Dad, I'm buying this house. What do you think? He literally bought it and then did it up and sold it. And they're very, very independent. And
I can relate, by the way, to both your kids because the dad is super, synonymous in the area. Everyone knows who you are. I've been very, very successful. Massive amounts of pressure.
yeah.
But being a child, because for me, when me and Lewis growing up, my biggest ambition was I wanted to supersede and do better than my dad did. My dad was very, very successful.
Yeah,
We've done that, thankfully.
Oh wow, we've gone there with that. We've done that.
Oh,
We have though.
No, we haven't, Dad. I love you. I just
but
ousted you on podcast.
But for them, like the pressure of, I don't know whether that's been their goal ambition to do better than what the dad's
I'm
done.
sure it is. It's definitely, and they will. They are way, way ahead of where I was at their age, and they will. They've got bigger goals, and I think that's probably the difference. My goals weren't big enough, whereas they're seeing people with Lamborghinis, and my son, he bought.
What does he do, by the way? What does Tyler
So
do?
he's got he's in competition with me. He's got a luxury estate agency model, real estate. So it's
So I hear you're in competition with your
Son.
partner and your son, right? Is that right? The letting side of business.
Caroline, my
Yeah.
wife, she's got a lettings business, and I've now got another.
So you're in
lettings
competition
It's
with
like
your,
war out there.
with your wife and your son.
Yes. So he's got a business.
It's like Succession, the TV program.
Yeah, but he's also doing a property developer. So he's building. He's got a development.
Were you
that he's
building something next to him? You're just going to go and buy a plot and go for it?
Yeah, no.
So he's into development, property development.
Property development. He also does an educational course to help people who want to be property developers.
Yeah.
So he sells a course and he does it himself.
By the way, the course is brilliant. I went on to speak at one of his courses, and we were in Dubai, and there's a room full of like super inspirational people. So if you are watching this and you're looking to build a portfolio, HMOs, investments, and looking at how you make money in property, Tyler Newman is that guy to speak to.
So big thank you for speaking at that event, and I know everyone was inspired by your story, so that was good. And also, one of the important things I just want to say to you, Carl, a big thank you for your sponsorship for Tyler. You've been very, very generous, and it
The
means
cause
a lot.
he's doing it for, it really resonated with me. My housemate is Filipino, and it's really good what he's doing. And what he's going through right now, anyone who's listening to this, Tyler, is towards the end of what probably is one of the toughest races on earth.
Yeah, it's the toughest foot race on earth. It's through the Sahara Desert, which is hard enough as it is. It's like 250 kilometers. But you have to carry everything on your back that you're going to eat over the next 7 days. So imagine you're going for your food shop for a week. Yeah,
Wild.
you
Wow,
carry
that's
that,
madness.
all the food, not just the food, but your cooking equipment. You have to have little cooking things and heat the water up. It's obviously dry.
You can
food.
tell you use Deliveroo, by the way. The little cooking things, the things to heat stuff up with.
And it's through the desert, obviously very hot, and it's running on sand, which is obviously quite difficult. And it's 7 days. So he's just finished this morning, stage 4, which was an 82 kilometer, 50 odd mile.
So he's resting now, do you reckon?
Yeah, he's resting now. I think he started at 6 o'clock in the morning yesterday and finished 6 o'clock this morning. So it's literally 24 hours of running. He's got today a bit of a rest, and then he's got another marathon to do tomorrow. And then the final bit is a bit shorter, it's like 14 miles, but it's over sand dunes. It's going to be a tough one.
What was the reason he's doing it for? Just again,
It's to raise money for a cause, which is child sex trafficking, and children that have been abused in the Philippines. So that's his, and also just the challenge, because
and you done it right.
I did it.
Yeah,
I did it a long time
Did
ago.
you do it faster than him?
We'll see. I know
It's
he's trying,
massive. Of course it is.
I know he's trying to beat me. But it's funny. You talk about parenting. I think my one message on that is that kids will do what you do, not what you say.
Yeah.
So you've got to be an example. There's no point saying to your kids, "I want you to do this," or they'll learn from what you do. And I did. I remember a long time ago, I did an Ironman, and it just got to the finish line. And just before I got to the finish line, I took Tyler and Summer out of the crowd. We ran across the finish line together. Tyler was 8 years old. 10 years later, when he was 18, he did that Ironman, same location. I did it with him, which was great. Father son sort of doing it, and I know his goal was to beat my time.
Yeah.
And which he did beat my time, but I also beat my time as well. So
Yeah, there you go.
For anyone watching this, we're going to stick the link in the description notes of the cause for which Tyler's doing at the minute. Anything you can do, it would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Just on parenting though, the kids are super ambitious. Clearly you're an inspiration, and maybe they wanted to better you, maybe they didn't. I did see somewhere or done a podcast that something you'd done from quite an early age with the kids. I'm sure it was yourself, where something to do with goals and goal setting and is there anything you've done specifically with them to kind of get them framed and thinking a bit differently or bigger?
Yeah, so I've always had sort of books in the house, of personal development and professional development, or just books. I mean, my view is if you want to be successful in life, learn from someone who's getting the results that you want. And if you could learn from books, podcasts, courses. So I'd encourage them to learn, and they have invested a lot of time and money in learning. But a couple of things I did when they were both 18, obviously as a parent, you go, what am I going to buy my kids on 18th birthday? And you tend to people buy them a car or something, materialistic. I bought a ticket to see Tony Robbins, which is a 4-day event. And it will I know that what you learned on that event will last a lifetime because he teaches all about health, relationships, career, mindset, and belief systems, because you're walking across hot coals. And most people go, "Oh, there's no way I can walk across hot coals," and you're thinking you can't do it. And then you end up doing it, going, "Well, if I can do that, what else can I do?" We had some, we paid for private education, which was something I was adamant I wouldn't do, because I went to a comprehensive and it was rough as anything. And I thought, I don't want my kids talking with a plum in their mouths and being snobby. And I went to this school, they had an open day, and they said, "Oh, we'll show you around." And some little kid shows me around. I'm going, like he was 7 or 8. And I'm going, he was polite, confident, friendly. And I'm going, I want my kids to be like that. And he's not snobby. And I thought, maybe they've got the best kid to show us around. But all the kids were like it, showing other parents around. And I thought, okay, well, just put them in this school for a year, and then, we'll go to a normal school. But the private education, it was good investment, in my opinion.
It's a good way of demonstrating an environment and being a product of a good environment.
I think so my kids are obviously Dubai, you've got to be in private school. And I always had that opinion that when I was going to be older and I had kids, I said I want them in a normal school. I thought I want to see them fight outside of school. I want the arguments. I want all the stuff that you see to open your eyes up. Anyway, I sit with my daughter now, and she's 6. She's learning Spanish. Half fluent in Arabic. She's 6. Violin, can play it properly. And I'm frightened that you are already more intelligent than me. Being 6 years old. The only thing that I worry about as a parent, and this is one thing that you've done and I've watched you do with the kids, is you've got to try and build an empathetic mind with them. I think that's massive for me. Trying to get them to understand human emotion, how to react to people. And I think whether it's the Tony Robbins class or being around intellect, being around business, these things are so important to me. Now, it's really controversial. I would not care if my kids completely failed school if they picked up what I want them to know.
100%. Like,
it would depend if it was lack of effort. I don't mind about results. It's effort.
But some people learn differently. Like, if you put me into a room where you're talking at a projector with me, I'm switched off in 10 minutes. Like, people learn differently.
And, it doesn't matter what your results are at school. That doesn't, for me, it's the stuff that they don't teach you at school. Entrepreneurship and thinking differently and taking responsibility. But
Sean, it's bizarre, because some of the people that join our business, they've never left mum and dad before. And the basic concept of what do I need to make in a month, my break even, is alien to so many people at mid-20s. And you just think, these are things now. Why are we talking about? My daughter was doing it. I'm sure it was like algebra or Pythagoras theory. I'm thinking, when are you going to use this in life?
Do you know what you learn more from? Moving to Dubai at 19 and realising you haven't got enough money for the rent. And you go, okay, I need to figure out how I'm going to fix that problem. And like them, they are actual real life problems rather than the situation with the algebra.
I think I've encouraged my kids to be independent. Travel is always great. I think that opens the mind to different cultures and things you can do. But
makes you less. I think from being in the UK, I think in general we are quite ignorant, because we expect people to speak the way. And certainly moving here, it makes you more aware, culturally aware, speaking a bit differently, and being aware of other people's beliefs. And I think it's really good to see the world.
And also seeing the other, like we've taken them to orphanages in Cambodia to so they sort of appreciate what they have got, because sometimes you think, this is normal, but we're very fortunate, that where we live in the UK or in Dubai, there's a lot of people. So I remember going across India with Tyler, and we were in a 3-wheeler tuk-tuk. We went 3,000 miles. Or was it kilometers? Could be either. From one end of India to the other, no mobile phones. We didn't speak the language, can't read the signs. We're not mechanics. It kept breaking down. We did that. And, that's sort of like finding solutions. Like, we'd have to get a lorry to take us, and it's dangerous. But challenges, I took him at Mount Fuji.
Oh my God.
In our flip-flops.
Oh, wow.
We did Kilimanjaro. So I think we've been doing challenges. And it prepares you mentally, to realise you can do more than you think you can.
How do you parent now then? So, for instance, now they're older, let's say from the kid stage, 8, 9, 10, up to 16. Are you a helicopter parent? Are you with them all the time? Do you call them? How does parenting look for you now?
Well, we're very fortunate that we've got things like WhatsApp. WhatsApping and messaging, we talk most days. Tyler's been quite busy, so I haven't spoken to him for a while. They're my friends. I don't see them even as kids. They're just mates. Like, we do stuff because who want to do stuff together. I hope I'm right in saying this, but they want to spend time with me and I want to spend time with them, and I enjoy their company.
You look at the thing, fucking hell, Dad's messaging again. He thinks I'm his friend.
You had a bit of a, I don't want to say life event, but you had something quite a traumatic happen to you. Was it 10, 15 years ago on a bicycling incident?
Probably 15 years ago. Now,
Tell us about that, and tell us how, or even if it did it change how you think about life?
Yeah, so I was cycling across America. So literally from LA to Florida. Again, that was 3,000 miles. Cycling in 30 days, about 100 miles a day. And I got to near the end and I got hit by a truck. That was travelling at about 60 miles an hour. So it went in the back of me. So I'm glad it didn't go in front of me. But and I was pretty much dead. Like, people stopped and went, "Oh, okay, he's dead. Let's see if because I was with someone else. Let's see if he's okay." And I must have spluttered or something.
I'm not dead.
I'm not dead. Yes. So they scraped me up. I literally broke most of the bones in my back. I've got 2 metal rods and 8 screws holding my spine.
Can you feel that now?
It's not too bad. I mean, in my hip, it was destroyed. It's like being held together with 14 screws.
Wow.
Loads and loads of metalwork. And I broke my legs, my arms, skull.
I seen a picture in hospital. It was quite upsetting to see it because you must have been in for quite a long time.
I was in a coma for I don't know how long, and I was in hospital for a long time. And I do remember bits of it, like when you have to do the sort of trying to get back to fitness again. I remember they just gave me almost like a broom handle to do like a bicep curl. And I was like, literally,
wild.
Like my muscles had all gone, and I had to learn to walk again. Even, so I was in a wheelchair for a long time. But even then, I thought, right, I'm not going to let this stop me. So I literally got a plaster cast on my arm, and I'd get into a swimming pool at the gym, have my arm up like this, and I could literally only probably just use this hand and one leg, just to
Try
swim.
not to drown. I'm fine. I'm swimming.
Yeah. And then I'd got onto a treadmill to try and walk, but I'd have to hold it to the side. But I thought, right, I need to get fit. So I entered a marathon in LA for 6 months' time.
Wow.
And
How long was this after the incident?
Straight after the incident.
Really?
Before I could even walk. I was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'd have to hobble around. So I had to learn to walk again. And
Did you do the marathon?
Yeah, I did it.
That's wild.
Took a long, long time because I was walking most of it. But
Doesn't matter. That's absolutely insane.
It gave you... I think if you've got a positive mindset and you go, right, that's what I want to get for. And that's all about goal setting as well. Like if you can set a goal and a target and a date, whatever it is in all areas of your life, whether it's health or income or career, set goals. And I didn't finish I want to tell you about Tyler's goal. So he wanted to have a Lamborghini when he was 17. He'd seen Top Gear on YouTube, and he sent out a tweet. And if you find him on Twitter or X now. Tweeter, yeah.
It's a new one.
It literally said, my next tweet will be a picture of me and my Lamborghini. So that was when he was 17.
Yeah.
6 years later, he hadn't sent a tweet for 6 years. He bought his first Lamborghini.
Insane.
Wow.
And it wasn't about the Lamborghini. It's almost like, I've got it now.
Yeah.
No, it was proving the point that I've set my mind to it and I've done it.
Yeah. And honestly, I can't stress enough. And I guess that's what I've done with my kids and people I work with. Encourage them to set goals, because I get a lot of reward and satisfaction and fulfillment helping people achieve their goals, helping them do well, helping them be successful, and seeing that success, and seeing you guys, is I'm super proud of you. And also I have to say that you've inspired me as well, because a few years ago I'm going, they're doing really well. Look at all those agents they've got.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
And I've gone, well, let's just think bigger then.
Yeah.
Stop thinking small and having offices.
That's the biggest thing. It's limiting beliefs. People
Yes.
thinking this is how far we can go. And I think for us, there is no...
No, I think it's the
limit.
environment. I think Dubai is an inspirational entrepreneur place where basically how I wake up every day, people say, how do you still do it? I said, basically, I'm getting my ass chased every day by 1,000 agents and I can't stop because if I don't get bigger and badder, then everybody else will come for me. And my worst nightmare is one day all up and not the best.
Yeah.
So if that's what it's, I'm on this hamster wheel of entrepreneurship. And I say it to everybody, I don't think there is a, when Dalboy Rodney said, one day when you're a millionaire, when you've made it, there's no making it. Because when you've got a boat, someone's got a bigger boat. If you've got an island, someone's got a bigger island, and somebody else is coming up after you.
And actually, it's not really as satisfying as you think it is.
No.
Let's say the financial thing, it's not really. And people say that, it's all right for you, but it's not.
No.
And you'll realise it one day. Do you know the incident? Did it change how you thought about life? Because you're very much into, I want to say you use biohacking, but you're very much into looking after yourself now. So does that change things?
I would definitely say I've got a new appreciation of life. Like every day is a blessing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just heard some news on Saturday. Someone who was 39 who worked with us just died, from a heart
Bloody
attack.
hell.
And every time I go, I just need to embrace and appreciate every day and be grateful for what I've got. But also, like, I want to live longer and healthier life. So I don't drink. I've got an oxygen chamber at home.
Is it a full hyperbaric?
Full hyperbaric oxygen chamber, infrared sauna. I've got a PEMF mat,
I've seen them,
electromagnetic field mat. Take lots of supplements, not quite Brian Johnson, yet, but, and I love exercise and just looking at things that are going to have a positive effect on my life. So not anything that's, I look at very carefully what I eat.
Is that because you want to be around for your kids longer?
Yeah.
Is it the incidents think I need to look after myself? Or?
Yeah, both. The more you look into health and optimizing your health, you realize how much you don't know and how much we're being conditioned to think, it's okay to drink Pepsi and eat whatever food. I mean, it's so, processed food, is just
Microplastics. So that. I mean, the last 2 years, if I'm honest with you, I think as I approaching my 40th birthday, my whole mindset of how I look after myself is completely changed to going to bed early and making sure I have a certain.
Are you trained like a machine?
I'm training 6-7 days a week. I'm getting proper rest. I'm using saunas 3-4 days a week.
Brilliant.
Getting massages. So I said on the previous podcast, I don't know whether it's a feeling of nearing 40.
Yes.
It's okay, I'm getting closer to death, and how can I stop that or slow it down?
I think in your 20s, you disregard health because you are healthy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then you go to that stage. My fear is with me, I train 5 days a week. I sauna 3 to 5 days a week. I probably have 20 supplement tablets. I do cardio 3 or 4 days a week. I try my best to look after myself. And my main thing is, like, I don't want to be an old, slow, 70-year-old. I've seen Sylvester Stallone. I watched one of his series, and he's like 85, and he's walking around, he's strong, and he's like, wow, I want to be like this.
But there's so much information now with longevity linking to strength, and I think the big thing about these times now is that my parents, my dad, my mum, they don't go to the gym, but I think there's so much information that it's more difficult not to listen to it.
Yeah.
And it's just people making them decisions whether they do or not.
Yeah, totally agree. Like, health is the number one priority. And if anyone says, "Oh yeah, but my kids are my number one," or my wife,
you're not healthy, you can't look after them.
Yeah, if you drop dead tomorrow, your kids haven't got a dad or a mum, and
they've got a foundation though. They're okay.
Yeah. And although saying that, I've told my kids when I die, they don't get anything from me.
Really?
I'm gonna, my money, I am gonna spend it before I die and give it away before I die. I'm not leaving it in a will to my kids or to anyone else. Like, if I'm going to give it away, I want to see the charities that I'm going to give it to and see the benefit and get the fulfillment from giving it away. But I think it would, spoil my kids' life. And you only got to look at these rich celebrities in LA, and they've got, these kids that are on drugs and divorce problem.
I don't think you're going to have that problem with both your kids.
I know, but
do
it's...
you know what you talk about there? I talked about this on a previous podcast, but basically I always use the story of Carl bought a Rolls Royce Cullinan. Never wanted one. This is literally a year ago. Didn't want one. He's like, I'll have a Rolls Royce. I had a Rolls Royce. But always bought cars and stuff together. He went in, bought the Rolls Royce, didn't save for it, didn't want it, bought it, and he said it was the shittest moment of his like personal growth moment where you just don't want it. I think if you give your kids that money, that feeling that he had, it's lifelong.
Yeah.
It's I can have what I want, do what I want, and there's no
satisfaction.
I don't want to take the satisfaction of them having the fun of achieving whatever they're going to achieve. I mean, it is definitely about the journey, not the destination. And the more money you get, and for me now, I used to be materialistic and want. I don't have any jewelry. That's an aura ring. Not I don't have any designer watches. I don't have designer clothes. My car is 10 years old.
But do you not think though that not just the older you get, perhaps the more successful you get, the less need to impress people?
Exactly. I don't need to impress anyone. I don't they don't.
I don't. When I was younger, I used to wear designer gear and everything. I wear my Apple Watch 6 out of 7 days.
Yeah.
I have nothing branded on me. Like I like tailored clothes
Yeah, of
because they fit. Because I'm massive as well. I like them to fit nicely. But yeah, I just
I don't.
all right.
I don't mind paying extra for quality.
Yes.
but I don't want to pay for a logo.
No.
or-
Exactly. Like we'll go to our favorite brand, Xenia.
Yeah.
And Xenia, if you see it, it's like
Yeah.
silent wealth or a discreet wealth where
Yeah.
you know it fits well. It probably might be expensive, but no one know what it is.
Yeah.
And that's my type of
Yeah.
luxury, should we say?
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, what's next for you? Because I mean, honestly speaking, it's a genuine privilege. It's a bit of a full circle moment. 24 years later, we're sitting down together. It's amazing to see how far you've gone and how far you're going and what your kids are doing. What's next?
So I'm building a bit of a sort of an ecosystem with the businesses. So we started with the property experts, so a self-employed estate agency model. And then we thought, well, let's do lettings. So we've got a self-employed lettings model. So we, basically I'm helping people start their own business because I believe that, if you want to be successful and have a happier life, that it's probably best to be your own boss. You can work flexible hours, you can earn more money, you just have a better lifestyle in general, rather than having to be at an office at a certain time and being told what to do and on a low salary. Being your own boss, I think being entrepreneurial is the key. So we've got the letting experts and I get my satisfaction from helping people start their own business, grow their own business. I mean, I get calls, WhatsApp messages, emails every single day from someone who will be going, Sean, I just want to say thank you. I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm earning more money than I've ever been. You must get this as well. I'm healthier because I'm going to the gym. I've got better relationships with my kids because I can pick them up from school. Like, life is good. And they're saying, I'm so thanks for the opportunity. And I'm going, no, thank you. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
So we've got the letting experts. And then we thought, okay, well, let's do auctions. So we've got the auction experts, self-employed auction. And I've got another business called the auction company that does the auctions. And this is all quite confusing. There's lots of businesses. I can't even remember what we've got. We've just launched commercial property expert. So again, a self-employed estate agency model, but selling commercial property. We're selling businesses. We've got the mortgage experts, which is a self-employed mortgage business. So these people are running their own business, but under our brand, we provide, like you, the branding, the marketing, the training, the systems, the technology or the tools. And then we've got a recruitment business, because then I realised from you, when you've got a recruitment team and then you've started recruiting for other people, haven't you? So I went, that's a good idea. So I've got, and obviously our business to grow, we need to recruit. So I've set up a recruitment business called Recruitment Experts, self-employed model, they get 70%. Then I realised they're recruiting for everyone else. They weren't recruiting for me. So now...
They recruit for me.
Yeah. So now I've got another team.
Yeah.
Since January, so in the last 3 months, I've built a team of 10 recruiters. So they're internal recruiters to recruit for all our brands. And yeah, I mean... it's
Project 2,500.
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting. So I've also got the travel expert, which is a self-employed travel agency. So people can become an independent travel agent. Such a great business. Like, they can literally run their own travel agency for £45 a month.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. So they'd be ABTA qualified, and it's a great business for, it's not, it's in the UK and the US, but it's actually coming to Dubai as well.
Yeah, I think one of my friends is doing it at the moment. He goes on Instagram. He's like, look, if you're looking to book a holiday, book it through us. And I'm like, I don't understand how you're doing it, but obviously you must have rates and things
Basically,
like that.
the travel agent, whoever you book a holiday through, someone is making 10% commission on that.
From the hotels.
Yeah, from whoever, like the package. So if you're booking a holiday, £10,000 holiday, there's £1,000 commission going to a travel agent or someone, booking.com or whoever you've booked it through. So you're better off to use an independent travel agent it's either going to be cheaper or, at worst case, the same price. I mean, you can book it yourself, but if time is precious and you don't want all the hassle, you just get someone else to do it. You don't have to pay them because they're making their commission from the the booking. So it's a great model, and they get obviously they'd get 70% off the commission. Wow. So yeah, really exciting times. Just growing other businesses. And
no retirement on the horizon. I know you couldn't today quite easily.
It's funny, people sometimes work all their lives looking forward to getting to 65 so they can retire. And then, and I'm going, I'm living my life now. I mean, there isn't like a work-life balance. Like, there isn't work and then it's life. They go hand in hand. I'm enjoying. I mean, I'll be working 1 minute and then I'll be doing something. I've just taken up golf, so I've just bought.
Have you?
Really?
just-
We'll have to get a
I've
game.
seen you having lessons actually.
I
yeah.
just I've only
the
just
best
got-
and worst sport ever, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I haven't actually played a game yet.
Oh wow.
So I've booked a golf weekend at the end of April, so in a couple of weeks' time. I haven't actually played a golf yet. Golf
Here we
game.
go.
The worrying thing is you could be better than me and Lewis after a few
You're
minutes.
definitely better than us. Definitely.
Well, Sean, thank you ever so much for your time, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like I say, full circle moment for us. I have no doubt Project 2500 will happen sooner than 5 years, and we'll be watching you keenly.
Do you know what? It's been a pleasure, and I feel like we could just talk for hours,
Definitely.
but we need to wrap up because I think we've gone over. But I just want to say thank you for inviting me. But you inspire so many people, and keep doing what you're doing, and it's changing people's lives. I know what we do in the UK, but you're doing it bigger and better over here, and it's great to see. And I'm proud of you both.
Thank you.
and
Thank you so much.
I'm sure you're
Well, without you, this wouldn't happen. So
Well, I don't think
that says,
so.
says a lot.
It's a small little bit maybe,
That's
but just get you started. But you've done all the hard work. You've done it, and actually, I think you've done an amazing job, and
Thank
it's
you so much.
inspirational. So
Means a
well
lot.
done.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Good.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye guys. What did you do? 2 hours? 2 hours.
You put your hand up, was like, there's no chance this is going for 30
You haven't
minutes.
even
No
started.
chance.
Yeah, hang on a minute.